Sarah, who touched your stomach on your wedding day?
An old woman, sir.
That woman took your womb.
Have you ever seen someone smile at a wedding, clap the loudest, pray the loudest, and still live with a secret nobody could imagine? That was exactly what happened to Sarah. Nobody noticed it that day, not even Sarah herself. The wedding was beautiful. The church was full of laughter. Family members were taking pictures. Friends were dancing. Everybody kept saying the same thing. Your home will be blessed. You will carry twins. We can't wait to attend your baby's naming ceremony. And Sarah smiled every time she heard those words. Beside her stood her husband David, a calm and kind young man who loved her with all of his heart. They had waited for this day for a long time. They had struggled to save money for the wedding, and finally they stood before God and became husband and wife. As people lined up to greet the couple after the ceremony, many hugged Sarah warmly. An old woman wearing a bright purple wrapper slowly walked towards her. Nobody seemed to know her very well. Some people thought she was from David's village. Others believed she came with one of the church members. The woman smiled gently. "My daughter," she said, "may your home never lack joy." And Sarah replied, "Amen." The woman placed one hand on Sarah's shoulder. Then she slowly rested the other hand on Sarah's stomach. She closed her eyes for a few seconds. "May your womb be fruitful," she whispered. And Sarah smiled. "Amen. Thank you, Mama." The woman smiled again and turned around and quietly disappeared into the crowd. Nobody thought of anything. The celebration continued. People danced until evening. Food was everywhere. Music filled the air. It became one of the happiest days of Sarah's life. Little did she know that years later, people would remember that small moment, because that was the last time anyone saw the strange woman. Months passed after the wedding. Sarah and David enjoyed their new home. They laughed together, cooked together, prayed together. Every month, they hoped for good news, but ended in disappointment. "It's okay," David would tell his wife. "God's time is the best." And Sarah would nod. "I believe so too." 1 year passed and nothing happened. Then another year passed, still nothing. Friends who got married after them had welcomed their child. Some had their second child, others were already expecting another child. Sarah was happy for them, but every congratulation she gave left a small pain inside her heart. She never complained. Every night she quietly prayed before sleeping, "Lord, whenever you remember me, I will give you all the glory." And David always prayed beside her. He never blamed her for one day or shouted at her. He never made her feel less than a wife. He would simply hold her hand. "Our testimony will come." And she would smile through tears. I know, but not everybody had David's patience. And one afternoon, David's mother arrived without telling anyone that she was coming. The moment she entered the house, she looked around. The house was neat. Food was on the table. Everywhere looked peaceful. Yet her face remained serious. And after eating, she looked at Sarah. "So, any good news?" And Sarah forced a smile. Not yet, Mama." And the old woman sighed loudly. "Not yet?" She repeated the words as if it tasted bitter. 2 years already." And David immediately interrupted. "Mama." But she raised her hand. No, let me speak." She turned back to Sarah. "When I married your father-in-law, I didn't even spend 1 year before I gave birth." And Sarah lowered her head. "I'm trying my best, Mama." "Trying?" The woman laughed. "How do you try to have a child?" And David stood up. "Mama, please." But Mama continued. "People are already talking." And Sarah stayed quiet. "I hope you didn't waste your younger days doing things you shouldn't have done." No. And Sarah looked up in surprise. "Mama, I hope all those stories young girls hear these days, that they are using their womb, Hope you did not do that though. And David frowned. What stories? His mother looked directly at Sarah. Some girls spent their youths following different men, removing pregnancies here and there. And by the time they marry, they begin looking for children they had already thrown away. And Sarah couldn't believe her ears. Tears gathered in her eyes. Mama, I have done nothing such like this. Her mother-in-law folded her arms. Then, why is there still no child? And David's voice became firm. Enough, Mama, enough. His mother looked at him. You are defending her because you don't know anything. And David said, I know my wife. You think you do? You don't know your wife at all. I said enough. And Sarah quietly stood up and walked into the bedroom before anyone could see her crying. She locked the door, covered her face, and cried until she had no strength left. But outside, David asked his mother to leave. She shook her head in disappointment. I'm only saying what people are already saying. No. And after she left, David entered the room. He found Sarah sitting on the floor. She quickly wiped her tears. I'm sorry, he whispered. You have nothing to apologize for, David. But you don't deserve this. And Sarah looked at him. What if she's right? And David nodded. No. What if God is angry with me for something I don't even know? And David knelt beside her. Babe, listen to me. And he held both her hands. I married you because I love you. If we have children tomorrow, I will thank God. If it takes longer, I will still stand by you. If people laugh at us, let them laugh. But don't ever believe those lies. And Sarah broke down again, crying. This time, they cried together. And that night, both of them knelt beside their bed. There were no long prayers, no shouting, just one simple request. Lord, if there is anything standing between us and our joy, please show us. After that painful day, Sarah tried to pretend everything was fine. She smiled when people were around, she cooked, she cleaned, she prayed. But every night, she cried when nobody was looking. David noticed, but he never said much. He would simply sit beside her, hold her hand, and remind her that they were in this together. Months passed, and then another year went by. Still no child. People in the neighborhood had started talking. Whenever Sarah walked past, she heard whispers. She's been married for years, no baby yet. I wonder what their problem is. Those words will hurt Sarah. But what hurt even more was what happened inside her own home. David's mother began visiting her almost every week. Sometimes she came without calling, and sometimes she stayed the whole day. And every visit ended the same way. One afternoon, Sarah served lunch with a smile. Mama, I made your favorite soup. But she looked at the soup without smiling. I didn't come here because of soup. And Sarah sat quietly. David had gone to work, and it was just the two women in the house. And David's mother folded her arms. Come, Sarah, tell me the truth. The truth about what, Mama? What exactly is wrong with you? And Sarah lowered her eyes. I don't know. You don't know? No, Mama. And Mama sighed. My son is not getting younger. And Sarah remained silent. I have been patient. I have prayed. I have waited. But enough is enough, Mama told Sarah. And Sarah slowly looked up. What do you mean, Mama? Mama's voice became cold. If you cannot give my son a child, then I will find another wife for him. And Sarah froze. It felt like the ground disappeared beneath her feet. Mama, you heard me. I cannot allow my family name to end because of one woman. And tears filled Sarah's eyes. But David loves me, Mama. And Mama laughed. Love does not carry a family name. Children do. And Sarah tried to explain. Hey, Mama, we are still praying. You've been praying for years. We believe God will answer now, Mama. When will God answer? And Sarah had no answer to Mama. The older woman stood up. Eh, I have already seen one nice young lady in our village. And Sarah's heart almost stopped. She's respectful, she's hardworking, and from what I hear, the woman looked directly into Sarah's eye now. She has no problem giving birth. And Sarah felt her throat tighten. Mama, please. Let me tell you, I am only giving you time because David is stubborn. Oh. But if this continues, don't blame me when another woman enters this family. Then she left. Sarah stood there without moving. She couldn't even cry. The words kept repeating in her mind. And that evening, David returned home. The moment he saw Sarah's face, he knew something had happened. What is it? But she couldn't speak. He gently held her shoulders. Sarah. And she finally broke down. She told him everything, every single word. And David listened quietly. When she finished, he picked up his phone and he called his mother immediately. Mama, yes, my son. I just heard what you told Sarah. And so, I only told her the truth now. No, you threatened my wife. I'm thinking about your future, my son. My future is with Sarah. But she has not given you a child now. Whether we have children today, or tomorrow, or years from now, Sarah is my wife, Mama. And his mother became angry. So, you have chosen her over your own mother, Abi? Mama, I am choosing what is right. This boy, so you will watch your family name disappear, Abi? And Mama, my family name will not disappear because God is still in control. You still believe that? Yes, Mama, I do. See, let me tell you now. I have already started looking for another wife. Oh. Mama, if you bring another woman into my marriage, I will not marry her. You are making a mistake, my son. No, Mama, I am protecting my home. Then David ended the call. He turned towards Sarah. She was crying again. Then he wiped away her tears. Babe, listen to me. No matter what anyone says, I am not leaving you. And Sarah looked into his eyes. Babe, do you mean that? Yes, I mean it with all of my heart. And she hugged him tightly. For the first time in weeks, she felt a little peace. The following Sunday, they attended another prayer meeting. People prayed with them, encouraged them, but nothing changed. The next month, they traveled to another church. They prayed again and nothing happened. Years passed and people kept recommending prayer gathering. Sarah and David never stopped believing, but the answer they were waiting for never came. One evening, while they were returning home from yet another prayer meeting, Sarah quietly asked, David, yes, my love. David, do you think God has forgotten us? Because I'm worried though. No, now, why would you say so? Because it's taking so long. Why is it taking so long for God to answer us? Then David looked up to the sky. Maybe because our testimony is bigger than we can see now. A few days after that conversation, Sarah woke up with a heavy heart. She had prayed, she had cried, she had fasted. Still nothing changed. David noticed she had become quiet than usual. He gently held her hand. Babe, don't lose hope. And Sarah forced a smile. I'm trying. I'm really trying. That same afternoon, one of David's friends called him. David, there is a prayer program in our church. Oh. A visiting prophet is coming from another state. I don't know why, but I feel you and Sarah should come. And David looked at Sarah. She looked tired, and honestly, neither of them wanted to attend another prayer meeting. They had gone to so many, and everywhere they went, people told them the same thing. Your miracle is coming. Your miracle is coming. But the years kept passing. Still, something in David's heart told him not to miss that meeting. And that evening, they arrived at the church. The place was already full. People were singing, others were praying quietly. And Sarah bowed her head. Lord, I don't know what to ask for anymore. If you still remember me, please have mercy. and the service continued. After some time, the prophet stood up. He preached about keeping faith during difficult seasons. His message touched everyone. Then suddenly, he stopped preaching. He became silent. He looked around the church as if searching for someone, and his eyes rested on Sarah. "My daughter." Sarah slowly stood up. "Please come." And David walked beside his wife, and the prophet smiled. "What is your name?" "My name is Sarah." "And is this your husband?" "Yes, sir." And the prophet nodded. He closed his eyes for a few seconds. Then he asked a question that surprised everyone. "Sarah, who was the woman that touched your stomach on your wedding day?" The entire church became quiet. Sarah looked confused. "My wedding day?" "Yes." "Think carefully." And Sarah tried to remember. So many people had greeted her that day, so she could not even remember who exactly touched her stomach. Then suddenly, she remembered, there was an elderly woman. And the prophet remained silent. She smiled at me. She prayed for me. And what? The prophet asked gently. She placed her hand on my stomach. And David immediately looked at his wife. "Babe, you never told me that." I didn't think it was important." Then the prophet nodded. "That is because you did not know." And Sarah's heart began to beat faster. The prophet spoke calmly. "And during prayer, I kept seeing your wedding. I saw many happy faces, but I saw one woman standing among them. I believe that moment is connected to the burden you have carried for years." And Sarah covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. The prophet continued, "But listen carefully. Our hope is not lost. Our hope is not in fear. Our hope is in God. And if God has revealed something, it is because He wants to bring freedom." And the church began to pray. People lifted their voices, asking God for mercy and restoration. And Sarah and David knelt together. For the first time in years, Sarah felt peace instead of fear. She prayed with all her heart. "Lord, I don't know everything, but you do. If there is anything standing in the way of the blessing you have prepared for me, please remove it. Let only your plan for my life stand." And David held her hand tightly and said, "Amen." The prayer meeting ended late that night. As they were leaving the church, an elderly woman walked up to Sarah. "My daughter." "Yes, Mama. I attended your wedding years ago." And Sarah looked surprised. "You did?" The woman nodded. "Yes, I did. But I remember that woman." And Sarah's eyes opened. "You remember her?" "Yes, I do, my daughter. She wasn't talking to anyone, and she came alone. And after greeting you, she disappeared from the reception. And we did not see her till it ended." And Sarah felt chills all over her body. "So no one ever saw her since that day?" And the woman slowly shook her head and said, "Never." And Sarah looked at David. Neither of them spoke. They simply thanked the woman and went home. From that day onward, their prayers changed. They stopped praying from fear. They prayed with confidence. They prayed every morning before work and every evening before bed. They thanked God in advance for their victory. Weeks passed, and one morning, Sarah noticed something different. She felt unusually weak, and David became worried. "And babe, should we go to the hospital?" And Sarah nodded. "Yes, let's go." And at the hospital, the doctor smiled after completing the examination. "Congratulations." And Sarah blinked. Congratulations for what, doctor?" "Congratulations, oh," the doctor said again. "You are expecting a baby." And Sarah couldn't speak. She looked at David, and David looked at the doctor. Neither of them believed what had just been said. "Doctor, are you sure?" The doctor smiled. "I've checked it twice. There is no mistake." And Sarah burst into tears. David hugged her right there in the hospital, and both of them cried like little children. For years they had waited for this moment, and finally it had come. The first person David called was his mother. "Mama, what happened?" We have good news. What is it, my son? Sarah is expecting a baby. It's a lie. Yes, Mama, it's a true. Then his mother began to cry. My son, I have treated Sarah badly. I accused her. I threatened her. I even wanted to bring another wife for you. David remained quiet. His mother continued, Please, will she forgive me? And David smiled. Mama, you asked her for yourself. Oh. That evening, David's mother came to the house. She was so excited. The moment Sarah opened the door, Mama fell to her knees. Sarah was shocked. Mama, what are you doing? My daughter, please forgive me. I judged you. I spoke hurtful words. I forgot that only God knows his timing. And Sarah immediately helped her stand up. She hugged her tightly. It's okay, Mama. No, it's not okay. But thank you for forgiving me. From that day, everything changed. Mama, who once criticized Sarah, became the one that protected her. She cooked for Sarah, prayed for her. She reminded everyone who visited the house never laugh at people because their blessings seemed delayed. God's time is always the best. A month later, Sarah gave birth to a healthy, bouncing baby boy. The house that had once been filled with tears became filled with laughter. Visitors came from everywhere. Some remembered the years of waiting, others remembered the painful words that had been spoken. But David simply carried his child in his arms and smiled. He looked at Sarah and said, I told you from the beginning, babe, our testimony will be bigger than we could ever imagine. And Sarah smiled and cried tears of joy. And she said, God never forgot us. Sometimes the longest waiting season becomes the loudest testimony, not because life is always easy, but because hope, love, and faith can carry people through even the darkest days. If you love the story and want to see more stories like this video, subscribe and comment for more. Thank you. See you in the next video.